Good morning, everybody, or good day. Welcome to our week two. So this week, at the end of the week, our narrative essay is due. We'll talk about that momentarily. Also, you'll notice some updates I've made in Blackboard. One, you'll notice the weekly video archive folder. So at the beginning of each week, the previous week's video is going to be posted there, available to you all for any reference purposes. If you want to go back and look at the video, cross-reference something I said, you need further clarification, the videos are going to be there for you. Of course, Miss Evans views the video with you guys at the start of each week, but I'm going to be recording them, storing them in a folder for your reference purposes. Also, there is a new feature called blogs. So a blog is just your opportunity to add any commentary to engage with your fellow classmates about the previous week's readings or any concerns or thoughts you have regarding 1101 in general. But mostly I'd like you to tailor your commentary to the week's readings. So for this week's blog, you could comment about the George Orwell piece and or the Bonnie Smith Yackle piece. So Shooting an Elephant and My Mother Never Worked. So it's kind of a free-form space. You don't have to, it's not so buttoned up as it is, say, in the discussion forum, in the discussion board. That said, you do need to be mature, civil with one another. You do need to write professionally, try to be as error-free as possible, which, by the way, you should do for any assignment, not just the major assignments, the essays, but in discussion forums, in discussion questions, any homework. Do your best to make sure you're not making spelling errors or major grammar mistakes. Make sure everything's punctuated. I'm not going to be necessarily hawkish going after you about little flubs you might commit regarding errors of that nature with classwork and homework, certainly with essays. But just try to be diligent and try to do the best that you can, guys. Just Let's tighten up whenever we produce something for a grade or otherwise in here, even blogs. But about blogs, it's voluntary. You don't have to do one. However, if you do a blog, I'm going to count that towards bonus for your final essay, the MLA Research Persuasive Argumentative essay that comes at the end of our 9-week term for 1101. So it behooves you to contribute to the blog, okay? Again, it's not compulsory, it's voluntary. You can, if you choose, but it's a good thing. You'll get a little bonus added to your final essay with each blog post, okay? So we got blogs, we've got the archive folder for the videos. Now let's talk about the narrative essay. So that's due at the end of the week, Sunday the 2nd. Day before Labor Day, 11:59 p.m. There is a Dropbox now there, and you guys need to first give Miss Evans a copy. So whenever you are submitting an essay in this class, she needs a copy. Talk to her about the format or how she would like it submitted. I presume she'd like a hard copy, but you guys can check with her on that. Of course, I'm going to have an e-copy, an electronic copy you're submitting to a Dropbox, but we both need a copy. Okay, I'm going to be the one grading. I'm going to be the one doing the grading. Miss Evans can look over maybe a rough draft. If you guys have a rough draft, you're welcome to let her check or email it to me. In fact, this week, if you have a rough draft for your narrative, I'm happy to look over it within reason. Don't send me a rough draft. Let's make it past Thursday. Thursday is probably going to be the last day for me to be willing to look at a rough draft because the finals due Sunday. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about particulars for this narrative. A narrative is a story. It's an account of something that happened. And for you guys, the topic is a particularly meaningful experience in your life or in someone else's life, maybe a family member's life, a friend's life, etc. Okay? So the example I like to give, and I think I gave Miss Evans for her to give to you guys, that moment when, okay, that's a good place to kind of conceive of your narrative. That moment when, ... this big thing happened. So my example I gave to Miss Evans is that moment when the door opens, you're sitting down for dinner with, let's say, your mom and your younger sister. Who walks in after not having seen him for 15 years? Your father, who's been absent for this entire time. Or most of your life, okay? He comes in. mouths drop, mouths agape. You drop the fork, it falls into the mashed potatoes, the gravy splurts everywhere, and you are in a state of shock and awe. Here is the man you've been wondering about for all this time, and he just appears, okay? And I guess he's got a house key too. He opened the door. There he is. What happens, okay? So presumably if you haven't seen your father for 15 years and he just comes unannounced through the front door as you're sitting down to dinner with your family, that's a pretty important moment. I would reckon that it is, okay? Now that's just a hypothetical. It could be the moment when you go to an amusement park. You've always been terrified of roller coasters. A little breaking the fourth wall here. Yours truly is not the biggest fan of roller coasters, so maybe I could write my narrative essay on this. Anyway, you go to pick your theme park of choice, and you are on the most scary and intimidating roller coaster there is. The narrative, the 2-page narrative, can be the moment you arrive in the park, how your nerves are starting to work up, you're starting to get really nervous and anxious, and then the climax could be right as you're getting up in the roller coaster to that first apex, right before it drops, okay? Now, how you frame the story, it could be when you get to the amusement park. I guess that's a good place to begin. It could begin when you're already strapped in the roller coaster, okay? How you guys choose to begin and end your story is up to you, but the focus needs to be rather specific. It is not your life story. It is a moment, okay? Again, we only have a 2-page paper here, so you don't have enough room to write your life story, a biography. So you can only really write about a particular moment. Think of it like a picture, okay? If you showed me or a friend or whoever a picture, there's a story with that picture. Oh, that's the time when, that's the moment when this thing happened, okay? That is your focus, your topic for your narrative. The thesis, for my example, the thesis, by the way, with any essay in here comes as the last sentence of your introduction, can be something to the effect of, when that door opened and that man stood there, rain dripping from his furrowed brow, the smell of damp cigarettes emanating from his shirt, I knew that my life was about to take an irrevocable turn. This is off the cuff here, so it's not going to be the most polished thesis ever, but a moment in a story, you want to kind of give us maybe a little suspense in that thesis, okay? So you're setting us up. So what are you going to talk about in the body? The body paragraphs are going to support that thesis. So you might say, what happens next? Or you might give a little lead up to the immediate moments following your dad opening the door, or the immediate moments following getting into that roller coaster, going up to the apex right before the first drop, okay? So guys, introduction, thesis is the last statement, and the thesis is the most specific part. It's the heartbeat. So when you lead up to the thesis and the introduction, you need to start general. Think broad, think big picture, and then you whittle it down until you get to the thesis statement, okay? And then each body paragraph, you're probably going to have about 2 to 3 body paragraphs for a 2-page paper. Those offer the supporting details, major and minor supporting details. You should have a topic sentence in each paragraph. I should be able to point to it, in fact. Body paragraph A, boom, there's my topic sentence, okay? Dad pulled the chair, sat down. We were all speechless. My little sister Emmy looked at him. Her eyes began to flit uncontrollably, left and right, up and down, as he began talking about his journey to be here with the family tonight. That could be the topic sentence for that first paragraph. And then the minor supporting details in the first paragraph are filling in the blanks to how your dad got to the table that evening, okay, et cetera, okay? You guys have had examples in the Successful Composition textbook. You've done the exercises. that I'm going to grade this week. You've read a little bit of some examples, okay? Now, your essays aren't going to look like the Orwell piece and the Bonnie Smith Yackle piece, okay? These are writers who are writing sort of creative pieces, creative nonfiction, probably in both cases, the Orwell and Bonnie Smith Yackle pieces. But you guys will have a structure. It's in the paper format. There needs to be an identifiable introduction, identifiable body paragraphs A, B, and maybe C, and then an identifiable conclusion in which you summarize what you've already discussed in the paper and you restate your thesis in the conclusion. You don't offer any new information in the conclusion. This holds true for every essay we write, okay? So just keep that in mind, okay? So a 2-page paper about a moment, a little slice, not your life story, an impactful, meaningful moment. That moment when, ... okay? And if you want me to look at any of it for you guys this week, I'll be more than happy to. Miss Evans, I'm sure, will be as well. She needs a copy. I need a copy submitted in Blackboard at the end of the week, Sunday, just before midnight. I will get to grading the no-show assignment, also the exercises from SCC, and then the discussion questions are due this Wednesday. So I'll give you guys till Wednesday before I even look at those for the Orwell and Smith-Yackle pieces. Okay? So I think we covered all the agenda items this week. As is always, guys, if you ever have any questions, do not hesitate to ask me. If you work with me, I work with you. Okay, I am not out to get you. I am not a monster out to ruin your life in any way. I'm pretty approachable and negotiable, pretty easygoing guy. So fire away, and I'll try to be as helpful as I can. Okay. So folks, I don't think I have any other items. This is going to conclude our week 2 video announcement, and I hope you guys have a great week, and if you need any clarification, please ask me. Bye-bye, everybody.